What is going on, guys? This is Versus All Gaming with my review of Noragami episode 8. And this episode, I did like it, but at the same time, I was definitely frustrated with it. But I'll get to that a little later on. So it starts off with Hiyori, and she's in this bathroom, and she's thinking about what Bishamon's regalia said to her about how Yato will die because of Yukine. And so we see that Yato, he's actually in the bathroom as well, and we see that he was on his phone. But when Hiyori actually noticed him, she kind of goes crazy and starts throwing all this stuff at him, like toilet paper. And then we have Yukine, who's there as well, and she hits him with this broom. And not only that, their client that they have a job with, he was also in the bathroom as well, and I believe that Hiyori, also hit him. So now that all three of them have been hit by her, they explain what happened. And so we learned that this guy, I believe his name was Manabu, and he's been bullied at school, and he has called Yato here to help him out. And so we see that, Yato actually gave him something, and we don't see what that is for a while now. But we see Yukine, he getting very annoyed by Manabu, and when Yato says that they're very similar or the same, Yukine gets really angry and he storms off. And so of course now, whatever Yato gave Manabu, he's like hiding it. But throughout the episode, we just hear like this clicking sound. So it's like some people like I did. Well, no, actually, not take that back because I didn't think it was a gun. I'm pretty sure some people might have thought that Yato actually gave him a gun, but that right there would just be too obvious. And I'm pretty sure that God can't really do that. So I knew right there that wasn't that. But I was surprised to see what kind of weapon it was, because that right there was definitely like a bit weird. But we see that Yukine, he goes to like some storage room, and he's like playing with this ball, and he's still very annoyed about what Yato said. But we see Yato is really feeling the effects of this blight. And you just tell that to get into him, because he like moving so slowly, like very sluggish. And you could tell that he was in pain. He looked like really pale throughout the episode, so you could tell that he definitely wasn't himself. And so when Hiyori actually goes there, to stop him, he's already gone, and we don't see him for a while. But we go to Yukine, who actually was like still in the school, moving around, and he came into this classroom, and he saw that like one of the students left their work and their jacket behind. And so he puts it on, and he pretends like he's a student, and he actually does this guy work. And so when the students come back, he has to quickly hide. But it really doesn't matter, because we all know that it can't really see him. So when he does come out, and it seems like one of the girls actually noticed him, that wasn't the case. As she saw these guys playing video games, and she was saying that that they boarded the school, like they have the risk now of it being confiscated. And so Yukine, he's like watching them play, and he's getting into it. And the game that they're playing, it did remind me of a game, I believe it's a Monster Hunter. It did look like that, but of course, I'm pretty sure they can't really add that in there, so they made like a parody game. But while the guys were playing, Yukine was definitely enjoying it. But when one of the boys here asked the other one if they could come over, I believe that right there is when his mood started to change. And then we have the boy that Manabu. When he came into the class, we saw that his stuff, it was in the trash. And so then we see that this little phantom is now getting to him, and you just see like the black mist appearing behind him. Now, if you all watch the OVA, I'm pretty sure you know what the term is, and he's been touched by this phantom, so it's now kind of possessing him. And so now he's not really himself. But when we have Hiyori here, still looking for Yato, she actually finds him in the infirmary, and he's sleeping. And so she remembering that he has been blighted. And so when she checks him and Yato wakes up, it was hilarious how she like freaked out and attacked him. That right there was like definitely funny. But then we have Dofuku and Kofuku, and he was like looking through these oranges, and some of them were bruised. And so Kofuku here messed up already, but she was out in the garden attending to these plants. But to their surprise, they have Bishamon here, and she came to them to get the location of these vents, because the one that had opened before, they had took out all the phantoms that had escaped, and now more vents could possibly open, and Kofuku can kind of like sense where that might be. So So we have her, marking on this map all these locations. And so while they were talking, and she asked me about Yato, I was definitely surprised to see how serious Kofuku became, because that right there was the first time we ever saw her be that serious. We seen her be, real nice and goofy, but we saw like a dark side come out of her, and that right there, kind of surprised me. I definitely want to see her get serious. I want to see her not be that goofy girl that we've seen all this time. I want to see that serious and possibly deadly, Kofuku come out. And so once Bishamo, leaves, because she actually, reverted all her regalias to their human form while she was talking to Kofuku. And, once she was done there and left, we see Kofuku go back to how she used to be. And we have Dakaku here, really praising her. Because I gotta say, for her, stand up like that and being so serious, I will also do the same. Because that right there, really surprised me. And so now when Hiyori and Yato were talking, they could see that a storm was actually brewing. But Yato didn't know if it was Manabu or even Yukine. Because we see Yukine, throughout the entire episode, he was like very jealous. Because he saw all these kids, that were like playing and having fun. And he's always alone, because we know that he's a spirit, he's dead, and people don't see him most of the time. So he basically, not there, even though he is. So this episode, it goes to show you, just how great his depression is. And then we have Manabu, who's been touched by this phantom. He actually went to one of the guys, and they were gonna fight with like these knives. But when he got close to this guy, he actually wet his pants. And that right there, I definitely wasn't expecting, but it just made me laugh my ass off. I definitely wasn't expecting that guy to like wet himself. Because Manabu, he was actually going to cross this line that, should like never be crossed. But he actually remembered, Yato's words. Because if he did this, then he would not be human anymore. And so, like once he ever called those words and was not going to go through with this, that phantom had left him. And so now we have Hiyori and Yato here, and we see that Yato was like already prepared for this, because he had this like purifying water. And so once Manabu was like taken care of, we go back to Yukine, who was like very depressed because Hiyori and Yato, they were saying that they hope Manabu can make some friends. And we see that, Yukine and Yato, like, even though what's going on right now, they are still very connected. Because I'm pretty sure when, like, Yato was saying that he wanted a friend, he was, like, speaking of Yukine's true desires. Because we saw him, like, in like, locker room or something, he was just, like, bawling his eyes out. And we see that when these group of friends were, like, leaving, Yukine was like trying to go after them, but of course, he couldn't do that, and we saw that he even tripped over this bat, and then like his sadness just became too much to bear, and it kind of made him snap, and we just saw him going around the school, smashing in all these windows, and because he's doing something so evil, it's like really getting to Yato, and we see that his blight is now spreading more, and we see that his body is like turning purple. So now Yato could possibly die, and we see that Hiyori, she has no idea what to do, but she did remember, what Yato said about if something happened to him, then she knows where to go. But when she touches Yato, the blight also, gets on her as well. And so now that she's carrying Yato on her back, she comes across Yukine. And she tells him, all the bad stuff that he's doing, it's now getting to him. And I'm hoping that they finally open his eyes, because now he needs to learn to control himself and not be such an idiot. But when they go to Kofuku and Daikaku, he actually makes a borderline that actually, repels them all back. And now we see that Yato is dying, and they aren't really helping him. But from a preview, it's not looking that good, especially for Yato and Yukine. It's like sometimes it's happening to Yukine in the next episode, where he's kind of like transforming into something. I'm hoping that it's not a phantom, but I'm not really sure. But I definitely cannot wait for the next one, because I can tell that's going to be good. But like I said, this episode, I did like it. I'm just tired of the way that like Yukine is acting. I do hope that at some point he will get his act together, because he definitely needs to. But as always, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe, because that really helps me out. And you guys take it easy, and I will see you all next time.